What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is a new show alert. Okay, here's the new show over on the OWN network. It's the Kings of Napa. Now, it's a family. Their last names are the Kings, and they're in Napa. They're a wine family, right? So it's a black, it's a black family, and the the patriarch is Reginald King. He is a surgeon, but he also bought this land, and he created this winery. We meet the family, so I'm gonna go through the family. I'm gonna tell you who all the players are. Then we're gonna go through the storyline, and then I'm gonna give y'all my opinion. Okay, that's how this gonna go. Okay. So we meet the son Dana. Now Dana is the CFO. We find out as the show goes on that Dana went to Harvard, and I believe Wharton, and he has his MBA. He's the CFO. Dana is I think they call little people. I don't want to be disrespectful. And that's only important because it comes up later on in the show where he feels like his father never saw him, because he said, because I can never look him in his face like a man, my father never respected me, and so forth. So that's the only reason why I bring it up. Now, he has a wife. His wife's name is Rose. Rose is the PR person for the company, okay? And I don't know if I trust Rose. I don't know if Rose is there for all the right reasons. I don't know, but we're gonna see how this rides out, okay? Then we meet August. August is like the main character. She's the daughter. She's the daddy's girl. She has all these great ideas for the business, and we're gonna definitely learn more about Miss August as the show goes on. Christian is the son. I'm sure he's the youngest. He's sort of like the knucklehead. He's out here hoeing around. He works in the bottling company. He doesn't really do a whole lot. But what he wants to do is he wants to create his own line of bourbon, right? He's not really into the wine as much, but he wants to create his own line of bourbon. We meet Yvette. Yvette is the auntie, the brother to the father, to Reginald. And she actually has her own wig company. She ends up becoming the VP of sales. We'll talk about that. Vanessa is his wife. Now, Vanessa, we found out that Vanessa, is a college girl, is in a sorority, sort of like the great arm candy. Again, this is the first episode. This is surface. It may go deeper, but I'm giving y'all what my first impressions were, okay? Rose, I talked about Rose. Bridget is their cousin. Now, Bridget manages the vineyard. And Bridget and August are best friends. They grew up together. They're cousins. They grew up together. They're best friends, okay? Put a pin in that. Melanie is Bridget's mother. Now, Melanie is not at the beginning of this episode. She's off saving the world. They talked about her being in Africa and doing this and doing that, and just, you get the impression that she's sort of flighty a little bit. Kelvin is August's ex-boyfriend from high school, and I wrote his name down, and he ended up playing a bigger role than I thought, but okay. So, those are the players, right? Now, the episode starts off, they're on their way to family dinner. We find out that they have family dinner, and they're not allowed to talk business at family dinner. But August has this great idea she wants to pitch to the family. Younger brother Christian says, hey, sis, I got your back. I got you. Older brother Dana, who also seems like he has a side hustle. He has a tailoring business or something to that effect, child. But Dana is like, listen, mama's rule. We don't talk business at the dinner table. So she ends up calling her mom, and her mom was like, your brother already told me what you trying to do, and we don't talk business at the dinner table. So this right there lets you know that Dana and the mama, they like this. Because she was like, dang, like, did he send you a smoke signal? How did you know that fast? So that lets you know that the brother and the mom, they've sort of got a little connection or whatever. But she convinces her mom that, okay, we won't do it at dinner, but let's do it at dessert after dinner. She was like, okay. So that was sort of the compromise. She gets to the house, and she finds her father. Her father has a routine, and every night, he watches the sunset while he's drinking him some wine, smoking him a cigar, and we see them have a moment, talk about the land and how great everything is, and yada, yada, yada. We see him link up, the two of them end up linking up with Angela on their way to the dinner table. And you see this great, happy family dynamic, right? So they're at dinner and they get to arguing, and the father tells them, "Listen, that ain't what we here for. We a family. Ain't nobody. Y'all need to chill out. We can't be sitting here doing all this arguing." But the father, they get to teasing each other. He's laughing. Everything is great. So they get ready. They're having dessert, and the sister pitches her ideas, and she starts to let them know, "Listen, I have this great idea for us to get into dessert wine." And the father was like, "Listen, dessert wine doesn't really yield a lot of profit." And she was like, "I know, but people are getting back to eating. Like, people are enjoying food again, and the dessert wine sales are rising, but they're all coming in from France. Like, we could cut our costs because we don't have to pay, port taxes and tariffs and things like that, and we could sell it for cheaper." So Dana, the older brother, is like, "Yeah, we can't do that. Like, we just getting over the recession. We getting over COVID. We really can't take on that burden." He was like, "See, that's what you don't understand. You come in here with all these grand ideas, and then we got to try to figure it out and make them happen, and you just sit back and want to just come up with these ideas or whatever." He was like, and Christian and his bourbon. So you see where Dana is. He's all about the bottom line. He's all about how we gonna pay the bills, but that's his job. He's the CFO. And his wife is like, "Whatever you say, Dana, whatever you say, Dana, whatever you say, Dana," which, again, you the wife, to a certain extent, that's your job too, right? So then we have, so they got to arguing, and the father got up to sort of admonish them again and say, "Listen, we're not doing this. We're not gonna have this arguing. It's enough for everybody." And he ends up falling out and dying, child. But let's be clear. I saw that coming a mile away. Like, I saw that coming. The first time we saw him, I was like, "Okay, well, this will be the last time we see him in the episode, unless it's a flashback." Like, I saw that coming. I'm gonna give y'all my 2 cents when we get to the end of it. So we get to the funeral, and that's when we meet Aunt Yvette at the funeral. And Aunt Yvette is sassy. Aunt Yvette got the quick comeback, and she's a little sassy or whatever. But she seemed like good people. Now, August gives a great speech down to the funeral, talking about her daddy and how, he, how the daddy, had these routines, and he did the same thing every day, the same way, kind of situation. And she's also getting texts from Calvin. Calvin is the ex-boyfriend, and she assumes he's just calling her or checking in on her to just send his condolences and things like that. So once the funeral is over, of course, everybody is mourning. The family goes back to the house. The mama is just not doing well. She is not, dealing with the mourning well. And, Dana already wants to start talking about business. And they like, "Bruh, like, we ain't got time for all that. Like, can you chill out? Like, we still, like, we just buried our father. Like, we don't have time to sit here and break down, the whole, like who's in charge," because Dana assumes that it's going to be him. And August is like, I know if he ends up running the business, like, he's never going to, like, let me do what I want to do. And, I have these great ideas for the company and these great things to help the company do better. And I know that he's never going to let that happen. And also shout out, because Reginald's character went to Morehouse, my brother's school. Shout out, Reginald. Anyway, so then we get to the reading of the will. Now, in the beginning, the will, everything goes well with the reading of the will for the most part. The wife gets all the stocks and bonds, okay. Everybody gets to keep their job at the company, and most of them getting some sort of a pay raise or a pay bump. The sister Yvette, she becomes VP of sales. That's a new job for her, because he said she did just such a good job with her wig company. But Christian gets the money for his bourbon line. But the only, and everybody else, like I said, gets to keep their job. Angela gets to keep her job as manager with a little bump in pay. But the only thing that was a little bit of a surprise was Dana thought he was going to be president of the company, and Daddy pulled the okie doke on Dana and gave it to August. So, of course, Dana is immediately in his feelings because he thinks that's supposed to be for him, that's his job, and he doesn't understand how dad chose August over him, and he was like, I'm the one that was here working, I'm the one that was helping him get his books together, I'm the one that helped save this company or keep this company afloat. How could he do it, kind of thing. Well, next thing you know, Auntie Melanie, had to get the name right, Auntie Melanie rolls in, which is Angela's mama. And she's like, I'm so sorry I got stuck on this flight and this plane and I couldn't get here. I'm so sorry. She said, but Vanessa, let me talk to you in the hallway. Now, let me tell y'all something. Whenever somebody says they need to talk to you privately, just go on and get in a private conversation, okay? Go on and get in a private conversation. Vanessa says, what do you want, Melanie? Anything you could say to me, you could say in front of all of them. And Melanie was like, girl, no. We need to have a private conversation. And she was like, well, what do you want to talk to me about privately? Because I don't have time for this, Melanie. Now, again, I feel like whenever somebody say, I need to have a private conversation with you, you probably need to go on and have that private conversation with them. But okay. So Melanie was like, well, listen, since you don't want to have this conversation privately, Reginald borrowed $10 million from me and I'm going to need that back. Everybody was like, do what? Vanessa was like, whoa, I'm going to need you to slow that down and say it again. She said, listen, when he was having them financial problems back during the Ronnie Ron, he was spread too thin. He ain't have the right assets. His numbers, his books didn't look good. Nobody would extend him a loan. So he came to me. I gave him a private loan. But yeah, I'm going to need that back. So now, of course, the sister is like, Vanessa is like, first of all, I don't believe you. Like, why would he go to you to borrow money? That doesn't even make any sense. He never said anything to me. Did he say anything to anybody else? And why are you talking to my husband and having these private conversations? You could barely call me for my birthday and have longer than a 20-minute phone conversation with me. But you got time to be having a conversation with my with my husband about business issues. So she turned to Dana and was like, did you know anything about that? Dana was like, I don't know nothing about this. What? And she was like, well, I don't believe it. And Melanie was like, I ain't got no reason to lie to you, girl. All I'm saying is give me my money. She was like, listen, you a liar. You always been a liar. Melanie was like, do what? Like, this what we doing? She was like, yeah, you lied about being a Dallas cheerleader. You lied about meeting Denzel. Like, you just a liar. She was like, for real? We're going to talk about lies that I told when I was 20 years old. Girl, stop. Your husband owe me this money, and I'm gonna need him to run me my coin. I'm gonna need him to run me my coin. So they get to arguing, and Melanie let it all hang out. Melanie said, you know what? We shared a lot together. Since you want to go there and you want to know why he would give me what he gave me, because we got history and we share a lot together. She said, what you mean what you sharing with my husband? And again, I knew this. I saw this coming at the beginning of the episode when we first met Angie. I said, cousin, okay. Baby, she said, because we shared child together. Her right there pointed at Angie. Angie was like, what the fuck? How I get in it? What? Baby, Melanie came in there ready for it. I said, see, Melanie, you was waiting. You wanted to spill that tea. You was waiting to spill that tea because there was no reason for you to tell it like you told it. You came in there ready to get that information. I'm just telling you. That's how I feel about it. You came in there ready to get that information the way you gave it, girl. So, of course, now Vanessa is like, what? What are you talking about? Angie is like, Mom, what? What the hell are you talking about? You told me my daddy died in a car accident. She was like, girl, I lied. Okay, I'm sorry, but I lied. Okay. So Angie runs out. Melanie run behind Angie, and Melanie was like, listen, since you don't want to I try to do this the easy way, now you're going to have to hear from my attorneys, okay? You wouldn't let me do it the easy way, so that was the hard way. She runs out to Angie, and Angie was like, Mom, what the hell? Like, why would you do that? Like, you lied to me my whole life, and now you put it out there like that? Like, you just throw it out there like that? And she was like, well, listen, girl, I tried to be nice about this, but she wouldn't let me be nice about it, and it just was what it was, and it just came out the way it came out. And she was like, Mom, but for real, I'm gonna need you to, like, chill out. Like, for real, Mom, like, that wasn't cool. So Angie takes off, child. She runs off in her car, whatever, and basically she leaves, and that leaves the rest of the family to figure out what the hell was going on. August is feeling some kind of way, but Christian was like, listen, I had seen daddy with Auntie Melanie, not doing nothing sexual, but a little risque. And I was like, what was that about? And he was like, it wasn't about nothing. And I was like, all right, because I was a kid, I ain't know no better. Dana is in his feelings, and he was like, he gonna go to Vanessa, the mama, talking about, like, I know you just found out that your husband had an affair with your wife and had a whole kid, but why am I not president of the company? And she was like, for real? That's what you want to talk to me about right now? You the CFO. You ain't know about this $10 million infusion of money that, like, you ain't know where that came from? He talking about something. If dad did get this loan, he cooked the book so I wouldn't know the difference. She was like, well, maybe that's why you not president of the company. So then, August decides that, you know what? Didn't she say, where did Aunt Melanie say her lawyer was from? Come to find out, Kelvin is an attorney, and that's the company that he worked for, child. That's his company. So he's the lawyer, and that's why he been calling her. So August goes to talk to the mama, which of course, the mama confronts Auntie Yvette and was like, I know you knew. Child, Yvette was like, I didn't know nothing, but you could see it written all over her face, and she knew the whole damn story. Then August goes to talk to her mama, and the mama is like, well, Angie got to go. Angie can't work here. Angie can't be in charge of my vineyard. I will not have her or my sister step foot in this house again. That's never going to happen. And August was like, first of all, me and Angie grew up like sisters. So that's number one. She was like, oh, we are sisters. Number two, you can't fire her. Like, she knows her shit. Like, she knows this company. She knows this business. She knows her grapes. Like, that's going to put us in a bad situation. And Vanessa was like, okay, but you in charge. You figure it out. Like, you do what you got to do and you figure it out because you are in charge. So August goes to meet with Kelvin, and she was like, listen, I ain't know nothing about this loan. I understand Auntie want her money back, but can we make a deal? Like, can we do some payment arrangements? And he was like, you know what? Your aunt is a little bit concerned about your mama in this whole situation because she don't really trust the fact that your mama gonna make sure them payments get to her one time every month. Like, and so she was like, well, listen, if we'll try to figure it out, but right now we just getting back on our feet. Like, we don't have $10 million we could just give her. And he was like, well, maybe we could come up with some sort of a settlement. We could work something out, So then we see Aunt Yvette and Aunt Melanie meeting up, and you can see that they cool. They hugged up, they hug each other, whatever. And Yvette was like, girl, what were you thinking? Like, you went totally nuclear, and you let it all out the bag. Like, you were supposed to take that secret to your grave. And she was like, well, Vanessa just kept pushing me. She was like, girl, Vanessa won't pushing you. Okay, listen. At the end of the day, you and my brother, I knew all about it. Of course, I knew the whole situation. But at the end of the day, I told you a million times, and I'll tell you again, Vanessa was who he loved. If a man wants you, a man will be with you. A man will move heaven and earth if that's what he has to do. But he was where he wanted to be. So honestly, I ain't trying to hurt your feelings or nothing. But at this point, I am Switzerland. I ain't in it. Baby Melanie was like, oh, no, you in it. Because you knew about it, so you in it. And she was like, and what's up with this money situation? And she said, listen, I kept asking him for my money, and he kept putting me off. And at this point, I need my money. Like, I need my money. Run me my coin. She said, because once the estate gets settled, then I really don't have a shot. So I need to, try to get in front of this. So Angie shows up for work and realized she been locked out, child. The mama done changed, deactivated her passcode and everything. And August was like, listen, let's just let the dust settle a little bit. I got your back. I love you like a sister. Oops, you are my sister. And I really want to make this happen. And Angie is like, listen, she feeling some kind of way about it. She in her feelings about it. What she understandably has a right to be. And of course she ends up leaving up out of there. So then we have Aunt Yvette have a conversation with August and basically giving her a pep talk saying, girl, look, you can do this job. Your daddy wouldn't have put you in charge if he didn't trust you. We see that August is sort of pining away a little bit for Kelvin. And Aunt Yvette tells her, listen, don't be, we good. Like, he went and he found himself what he wanted, his Susie homemaker. And honestly, it is what it is. So We back at family dinner, child, and the siblings are fighting because, of course, Dana think he's supposed to be president. Of course, Rose is going to support her husband. They're talking about how they can cut their money back and what they can sell and what assets they have. And basically, they're in a better position financially, but they're not in a position to give somebody $10 million. Like, even if they mortgage something, even if they sell something, even if they do all these different things, they still gonna be short. And they end up having, this huge argument over dinner about it. And you know, they try to get Angie her job back. Of course, Mama ain't hearing that. Mama don't want no piece of it. And that's where Dana give us the speech about how the reason why he put August in charge is because his father never did see him. His father never did respect him. Because he's a little person. His father never respected him, as a man or whatever. So they get to the lawyer's office to make a settlement. Now listen, I thought they came up with a pretty good compromise. They offered $5 million now and stock options when they go public in 2 years, which is the plan for them to go public in 2 years. And the sister was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take that deal. I'm going to take your $5 million today, and I'm going to take your stock option in 2 years. But one condition, Angie gets her job back. Baby, the mama was like, nope, hell no, that ain't going to happen. Nope, never going to happen. Nope. And Melanie was like, listen, let me tell you something. This is what's in the best interest of everybody, because what I know you don't want is for everybody down in the Napa Valley to know all of your family business. You like to put this picture like everything was perfect, and y'all have this like picturesque family. But what you don't want me to do is start telling what I know, because please understand that this is the tip of the iceberg. And if you want it to play out in court and you want all the business to come out and you want all your secrets to be told, then let's do it. But for real, I really would rather settle this the way we trying to settle it now. And the mama was like, whatever, I don't care. So August ends up going over to Angie's house so they could have a talk. And again, you can see where they're friends, and they sort of kind of, over some wine, they talk about their father and how they're going to try to rectify this whole situation. So they end up tricking the mama into a lunch, right? They tricked the mama into having lunch. The whole family is there with Melanie and with Angie. And basically they're like, listen, it's in everybody's best interest for us to resolve this the way we're trying to resolve it. We don't want all our business out there. Now, mind you, they having this conversation in a whole public restaurant. They didn't get a private room. They ain't do none of that. But neither here nor there. The mama say, I tell you what. She said, I got a couple of questions. So Melanie was like, fine, I'll ask her. She said, how did this happen? So, of course, everybody looking at each other like, what you mean, how the baby got here? I think we all know how the baby got here, right? She was like, no, I mean, how did this happen? And so Melanie tells the story. She said, listen, you had gone out of town with some dude you was dating. Reginald found out about it. He was in his feelings. Me and him was studying one night and shit, it happened. And by the time you got back, you was done with dude. The two of y'all made up. Y'all rode off into the sunset. And by the time I found out I was pregnant, I was odd man out, and I just ain't had no choice but to just keep it to myself. Everybody was like, okay, that's sort of reasonable, I guess. So then she says, but was that the only time? And everybody tries to move the conversation along. She said, oh, no. If we're going to resolve this, was that the only time you slept with my husband? Or what about the time when I was out of town and you were at my house? What about the time that we went to the Obama inauguration and you got so drunk he had to take you back to your hotel room? Or what about the time that we were down so-and-so for the weekend and y'all went off to go get firewood together? Or what? And she named 10, 15 times that this woman was with her husband. And baby, when she got done, Melanie couldn't say nothing, honey. All Melanie could do was just look at her like. She said, so yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So don't sit here and try to talk to me about somebody who's fucking my husband. And of course she was loud. The whole restaurant heard her. And baby, everybody went running out. That was the end of that conversation. And then once again, Melanie tries to tell August, your father isn't who you think he is, right? Your father got a whole lot of secrets and a whole lot of skeletons. And let's be clear, what you don't want is for it to come out. You need to watch your back. Keep your head on a swivel, girl. Watch your back. Next thing you know, she getting a phone call from somebody on the other line talking about you finding out that your daddy wasn't as innocent as he thought he was. Well, I need my payment. Same place next week. And I was like, same place like in this restaurant next week. So now somebody wants their money, her daddy owes somebody else some money, child. It's a whole lot of layers here to unpeel. Now, that's the review. Now let me give y'all my 2 cents on this. My 2 cents on this is I fear we're dealing with another like our kind of people type situation because they threw a whole lot of at us at the pilot. Now I know, I get it that it's a pilot and you got to grab people, but I honestly feel like they could have drug out the beginning of this episode and the daddy could have died at the end. Like you could have given us more background on who these kids are, their relationships, the relationship with Angie. You could have fleshed that out a little bit more. You could have given us a little bit more about Yvette, a little bit more of Reginald and Vanessa's perfect marriage, and then at the very end, he could have dropped dead. Like it still grabs you. It still makes you want to see the rest of it. The other thing I was reminded of was, y'all, I hate to be the one to tell y'all, and I really hate to be the one to tell on, but this whole pilot is the TV show Brothers and Sisters. Y'all may not remember Brothers and Sisters, but Brothers and Sisters, it was like in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. It starred Sally Field, and it was the exact same thing. You had the husband, perfect father. You had this whole, him and his kids, and all his kids had these different great careers, and they had a family business, and the daughter worked for the family business, and I think the son worked for the family business too. And, it was this whole great life that they had. But they did exactly what I just said. The whole first episode built up this whole story of this company and who worked for who and the relationship with the kids and their husbands and their spouses and their kids. And at the end of that first episode, the husband died. And then as the season went on, we started finding out all these skeletons, which also included a child. And again, I just feel like, why do we have to rush these stories along when you could give us a little bit that keeps us interested in moving forward? Anyway, that's my 2 cents. That's my review. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.